Unit 6.2, we're looking at what we did in 6.1, populate, we create, we populate, and now we want to do the same thing except we want to do them with methods, and we want to use static arrays, static methods to kind of tie in the unit 5 stuff with the unit 6. So I'm going to scroll up. See, I have a bunch of static arrays already created. Account numbers, there are 10 of them. Phone numbers, there are 10 of them. So I'm going to use these to create 10 bank accounts. Look at the precondition. They must use the non-default constructor. Data should be taken from the static arrays above. Post condition, it returns an array holding 10 randomly generated bank account objects. This one prints them. This is not null. Other way to write it, it contains at least 10 bank account objects or account.length is greater than or equal to 10. Prints all, which is the post condition of information in the bank account using its toString, which we created already. Now, one thing here is I need to create these bank accounts by first making an array. So bank account, and I'm going to call it accounts because it's more than one, equals to new bank account, and making 10 of them. Since I am going to return this, I'm going to go ahead and prematurely return. Of course, it's filled with nulls. And how do I know that? Because bank account is a type of object. And so when we do that with objects, we're going to have nulls. So, well, I want to go ahead now and generate 10 of these by writing a loop over the account numbers. So for int I equal to 0, I less than account numbers dot length, and I plus plus. So I'm going to go ahead and just fill this up by going over the account number. So the first thing I'm going to do is get the account number. So I'm going to put ACC, and I'm going to set that to account numbers at position I. Well, the last thing I want phone numbers as well. Okay. So phone number is a string. I'm going to call it phone. Whereas I'm trying to use the same thing I use as the dummy variables. So phone numbers in unit 5. Phone numbers at I. These are just straightforward. The others we're going to randomly generate. So we need to randomly generate, what else do we have? We had a balance, right? Double B. We're going to randomly generate that. And then we need a string L name. We need to randomly generate that. And then we need a string F name. I'm putting placeholders here for now. We need a string address. We're going to randomly generate these in a second. And then we want phone numbers. Let's see if we have everything. 1, 2, 3, 4. We need one more. I think we need an email, don't we? Yes, we do. So we need a string email. Okay. Got to figure out a way to come up with these things. So we have all this, and let's see if we can make the bank account now. Bank account equals to new bank account, and I'm going to put the stuff in. I try to stay in order, so it's ACC B L name F name address phone email. Okay, so we've created the bank account, and then we have to put him in the position, in the current position. So this should be accounts, because this is the array. So this is the idea here, okay? We're going to fill these slots in. So we get all the pieces, all the data. We create the bank account. We then put it in the array. And when this loop's finished, we return all of them. So let me go ahead now and do the random number generator. Outside, I'm going to make a random number generator. So random gen equals to new random. Okay, I imported this already, so you don't have a red line. If you have a red line under this right now, it's not imported. Go ahead and do that. So we need to generate some random balance here. So I'm going to say gen.nextInt. Kind of mixing old with new here. If 501. So, you know, you could deposit anything from 0 to $500. Last name, I'm going to randomly generate a last name. So let me see how I'm going to do that. I'm going to say last name at position gen.nextInt. And inside here, I put last name.length. So basically it's saying generate any number within this length here and get that last name. I'll do the same thing for first name. So why not just copy this, right? And let's get first name here. Let me just change this last to first. Change this last to first. And the addresses, I'll do the same thing, right? So I'm just going to put, instead of last name, addresses. Instead of last name, addresses. And I have the phone number, and I also have my email. Now the email, I'm going to just use their last name at gmail.com. So let's just go with last name at gmail.com. So we're going to take the L name plus at gmail.com just to make up some email address. So that will get me all my bank accounts created, and when everything is finished, it sends it back. Now I need to print these bank accounts, okay? So I'm going to pass this call to this method for it to print them. So I'm going to say for int I equals 0, I less than accounts dot length. Now I'm using the dummy variable here, accounts, just like I created a dummy up here. These are two different accounts, right? This scope is here, and this scope is over here. This is two different things. Although I'm going to pass the information from one to the other, they're two different things. So all I got to do now is print them. I don't need these curly braces because I'm only doing one statement. System dot out dot print ln, print them. I'm going to print accounts I. So we know it's not null, so we know it contains some values, so therefore we can print it. All right, that's the two methods. Now, how am I going to check to see if these work? Well, I have to call them, right? I have to create these accounts and then call the print. Let's do it in two steps, okay? Let's go to the main, the driver. Let's try and drive this a little bit. So let's first make the bank account. So I'm going to create a bank account. Need two C's. I'm going to call this accounts. It's an array. And I'm going to say, well, how am I going to create this? Well, this is static, right? So I need my array project to make it. Let's copy that. Let's do that. Nice review here. The array project dot, and I'm going to say create the bank accounts. See? I didn't make an instance of the class and then call it. No, because it's static. Then I'm going to say dot print the bank accounts. Okay, so I'm going to make them and print them. Obviously, this is all randomly generated. Let's run it right here. Have all the bank accounts. One thing we could say here is that these things are all close to each other, so maybe we want to do a little bit of cleaning up to make them a little more separate. So in the print here, maybe I should do a print and then print another line, a new line at this. So maybe I could do a \n just to get a little separation. Let's run that again. Better. So the account number is this. The person has $202 as the balance. His name is Perry Alice. And I shouldn't say Perry Alice because last name is Alice Perry and Alice James. And we have a bunch of Alice here. Greg Williams. And they created 10 of them. So, and of course, Gates at, because his last name is Gates, and James at Karen James. So we just basically used the information for how to create an array, how to print these things like here, and we are going to use loops such that we could do many of them. That's the whole idea behind an array. You could do a lot. Now I'm only doing 10 here, but you could easily expand your mind on this one. Again, just to recap, using these static arrays in a static method. Remember, it's easy to use these because these are static, so they could be used in here. I can create a whole lot of accounts and then return these accounts. Okay, remember, this is a locally created variable. Okay, this doesn't have to be static, it's one that I'm accessing. Okay, so I want to make sure that you get the idea behind this static stuff. And then once we're ready to call them, we have to call them the right way. It's the name of the class dot, okay, as opposed to array project equals new array project, and then use that object to call them. That brings us to the end of 6.2.